Welcome to the English Booth Podcast. So I want you to picture something. Have you ever had a moment where you send a message to a friend?
Oh, we've all been there.
Right, like a really long, vulnerable, highly personal voice note. You were just pouring your heart out about something that is really stressing you out.
Just putting it all out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you wait for the reply, and you wait. And finally, your phone buzzes. You look down, and the response is just,
Just the letters H and M.
Yeah, HM. No punctuation. Like no emoji. Completely blank. Just,
And, in that excruciating 45-second window of silence that follows, your brain essentially it turns against you.
It really does.
It takes that tiny two-letter text and starts writing this, elaborate psychological thriller.
You start spiraling almost instantly. You're thinking, does she hate me? Did I overshare? Like, is the friendship completely over?
Right, the panic just sets in.
It does. And that's exactly our mission for today's discussion of the source material. We are exploring that crucial, often chaotic space between feeling an intense emotion and taking action.
Which is such an important space to understand.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Today's sources give us this brilliant roadmap for decoding these highly emotional moments. We're looking at why the brain panics and how you can actually regain control over your reactions.
Because the reality of that text message is usually, it's entirely mundane.
Yeah, totally harmless.
Exactly. In the specific story from our source today, the friend on the other end was literally just busy cooking.
She's making dinner?
Right. She was stirring a pot with one hand. She couldn't type out a full sentence, and she just sent, to acknowledge that she was listening to the voice note.
A pot being stirred in a kitchen. That is the actual physical reality. But it somehow becomes this intense drama about deep abandonment.
It's wild how we do that.
It's like our brain is this over-eager Hollywood director trying to film a blockbuster drama out of a single boring prop.
That's a great way to picture it.
So, okay, let's unpack this. Why are we so wired to react to the tragedy our mind just imagined, rather than the mundane reality of what actually happened?
Well, what's fascinating here is this core dynamic of fact versus story.
Fact versus story.
Yeah, so the fact of the situation is very quiet. A late reply, a one-letter text, there's no inherent threat there.
Right.
But the story is driven by fear, and fear is this incredibly dramatic storyteller.
It really wants an Oscar.
Exactly. It adds the background music, the thunder, the slow motion. Separating that quiet fact from the loud story is really the very first step to regaining control.
Because we just merge them together, don't we?
We do. Our brains hate incomplete information. When there's ambiguity, like a blank text, your brain has to fill in the blanks to keep you safe. Assuming the worst is actually a survival mechanism.
So we're genetically wired to assume the text message is a tiger in the bushes.
Basically, yes. Thousands of years ago, if you assumed the rustling bushes were a tiger, you survived. If you assumed it was just the wind, you got eaten.
Wow. Okay, so that makes sense for survival in the wild. But how does that affect our self-image when real pressure hits? Because a misunderstood text is one thing, but what about actual problems?
Oh, that's where things get really heavy. Think about how people face real problems, like rejections, mistakes, or arguments.
That's a major failure at work.
Right. For some people, they let that problem happen once in real life, but then they let it happen 10 more times in their head.
They just put it on a loop.
Exactly. And our source highlights two crucial concepts here: internalizing and misinterpreting.
Internalizing, meaning what exactly?
It's when you turn a painful, isolated moment into your permanent, personal identity. So one failed plan suddenly becomes, nothing ever works for me.
So you fuse the event to who you are.
Yes. And once you do that, you start misinterpreting everything. You understand a moment incorrectly because you're reading it through fear.
Can you give an example of that?
Sure. So say a coworker has a different opinion on a project. Instead of seeing it as just a different idea, you misinterpret it as deep disrespect.
Because you've already internalized that you're a failure.
Exactly. You're viewing the world through that lens.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Isn't this black and white thinking just a natural defense mechanism?
How do you mean?
Well, if I get criticized at work, jumping to I'm a failure feels like my brain bracing for the worst-case scenario to protect me. Like I'm lowering my expectations to survive the blow.
I hear that, and it feels protective in the moment, sure, but it is actually incredibly destructive.
Why is that?
Because black and white thinking completely erases the middle ground. The mind stops seeing nuance. It just jumps straight to extremes, perfect versus terrible.
There's no gray area at all.
None. And when you do that, you're no longer responding to the actual situation in front of you. You are responding to the pressure, the memory, and the story around it.
You're reacting to the ghost of the problem, not the problem itself.
Precisely. You're exhausted from a fight that's only happening in your own head.
Man, that is so draining. And we feel it physically, right? Like now that we understand how the mind distorts reality, what actually happens physically and verbally when we act on that distortion?
Oh, the physical toll is massive. The source describes it perfectly. You get that tight chest.
Your face gets all warm.
Yes, your face gets hot, your voice starts rising, and I love the vivid imagery the source uses here. Your thumb becomes this tiny emotional soldier ready for battle,
Hovering over the keyboard.
just waiting to strike. You get this intense urge to be impulsive.
Right, you want to fire off that text immediately.
And you get highly defensive. Because your body feels attacked, you build this massive wall of explanations and interruptions.
Even when no one is actually attacking you.
Exactly. And the honest truth here is that when we react from that place of pain, we often want to make the other person feel our pain
We
too.
want to level the playing field.
Yeah, so we start bringing up old problems, expanding the argument, just trying to make them hurt the way we hurt.
So what does this all mean? It sounds like anger walks into the room like a loud bodyguard with absolutely no training.
That is exactly it.
It's trying to protect you, but it's just smashing all the furniture and yelling at the guest.
The untrained bodyguard. Yes, it might end your immediate feeling of vulnerability, but the collateral damage is huge.
But wait, if we tell people, don't react, doesn't that just mean letting people treat you badly and having no boundaries? Like you just become a doormat.
Oh, that is a huge misunderstanding. If we connect this to the bigger picture, not reacting does not mean staying silent.
Okay, thank goodness.
Right. It doesn't mean you abandon your boundaries. It means your words come from a place of clarity, not from panic.
So you're speaking, but you're not just thrashing around emotionally.
Exactly. The emotion, the anger, the hurt, it is allowed to sit in the room. But it doesn't get to run the meeting.
It doesn't get to run the meeting. I love that. So if the emotion shouldn't run the meeting, how do we actually take back the reins?
We use the most powerful tool mentioned in the source, the pause.
The pause. Just stopping for a second.
It sounds so simple, but it's profound. The pause is that small, vital space between feeling something and doing something.
Between the stimulus and the response.
Yes. And it's the difference between escalating a situation and de-escalating it.
Escalating versus de-escalating.
And the source points out this incredibly painful math that we all need to remember. An impulsive reply might win you 5 seconds of satisfaction.
Oh, that dopamine hit when you hit send.
Right, it feels great for 5 seconds. But it creates 5 entire days of awkwardness.
5 days of having to avoid them in the office or apologizing. It is so not worth it.
It never is. That's why the pause is critical.
Mm.
And our source gives these highly practical scripts you can use. You don't have to just sit there in silence.
Yeah, what can you actually say in that moment?
You can say, I'm upset right now, I need a moment. Or, one of the best ones, give me a minute, I want to respond properly.
I want to respond properly. Oh, wow. I marvel at that.
It's strong, isn't it?
It is, because you're protecting the conversation rather than just protecting yourself. You're saying, this relationship matters too much for me to just explode right now.
Exactly. You are practicing restraint. And restraint isn't a weakness, it is strength with control.
And it really feels like the pause isn't just about the present moment either. It's about being kind to your future self.
How do you mean?
Well, the present self gets the 5 seconds of satisfaction, but the future self is the one who has to actually clean up the mess later. The pause protects the person you have to be tomorrow.
That is a brilliant way to frame it, and this raises an important question. What do you actually want out of the moment?
Right. Do you want to fix it or just win?
Exactly. Do you want peace? Do you want clarity? Or do you just want to hurt them back?
Just inflict pain.
Yeah. And the truly calm person, this is key, they aren't someone who feels nothing.
They aren't just robots.
Far from it. They are someone who feels everything deeply, but they trust themselves enough to handle the hurt without falling apart or becoming cruel.
They metabolize the feeling instead of just vomiting it back onto the other person.
Exactly. They hold the line.
Man, that is powerful. So just to briefly recap this entire emotional journey we've been on today.
Let's do it.
Life puts pressure on you. That is a given. You get the text, or the criticism.
And the default is that you internalize it.
Right. You internalize it, you misinterpret the story because your brain is panicking.
Your timed emotional soldiers get activated.
Yes, you get defensive, you get impulsive, and the whole situation just escalates.
That's the messy path.
That's the messy path.
Yeah.
Or, on the other hand, you practice restraint, you take the pause, and you choose a much better response.
It really comes down to choice. And I want to reiterate this core quote from the source material because it ties everything together beautifully.
Please do.
Not reacting does not mean I feel nothing. It means I am choosing what deserves my energy.
Choosing what deserves my energy. That is so good.
It's profound.
It really is. So as we wrap up this exploration today, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought.
Something to mull over.
Exactly. Next time you feel that sudden, overwhelming urge to type out an angry, defensive reply, your face is hot, your chest is tight. What if the ultimate display of power isn't crafting the perfect, cutting comeback?
Oh, I like where this is going.
What if true power is the absolute, unbothered stillness of choosing not to play the game at all?